Go.
Hi, this is Susie Hunter with Pine Valley Realty. I'm here today with Jim Leany, the owner and the visionary of Tru Religion Pancake and Steakhouse in Orem. We're on record-breaking Monday today, right?
Yes, we are.
Yes. So we have eaten here many times, and I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with breakfast, and I'm obsessed with this place because every time I've been here, there has been an experience, Jim. So I would love to hear your story and your vision behind this place.
Well, first of all, the name Tru Religion, I think one of the fun things is when you think about a disruptive name like a Tru Religion in Utah County,
right.
A lot of people would fold their arms like this and they go, well, the food better be good, you know, get teased a little bit.
Right.
But it doesn't really matter what religion you belong to.
That's right.
If you minister and serve in any capacity and make somebody's life a little bit better, that's Tru Religion.
I love that.
Yeah,
yes.
So that right there is
that.
the impetus. We're not a profit-driven business. We're purpose-driven. And one of the fun things that we do is we take one individual a year off our streets or out of our prisons, and we pay for their rent, we pay their utilities, we pay them a living wage to work here because they have nothing.
Right.
And then also we put them through UVU's culinary program, and we pay for their education. And then when they come back after 2 years, while they're still working here, then they are in line to become an owner-manager.
Really?
Yeah, so that's one prong, you know, of our three-prong mission. And the other one is we don't really like the corporate model where most of the money stays up here and it doesn't make it down here, because they always think that there's just plenty of people that are entry-level that will come in and work for low wages. And whoever manages this place, they'll own 20% of the net profitability plus a salary.
Wow.
So when you come in through the front door, you'll always be greeted by an owner and not just a disinterested manager.
Right.
Disinterested, I can't even say it. A manager. And but ownership does make a difference.
It does.
You know,
It
and
does.
when someone has a vested interest in something, they're going to watch the place and pretend like it's theirs in a big way. That's number two.
Okay.
And then number three is we're truly sustainable. And what does that mean? That means there's a whole lot of farmers out there that are producing. And why do we buy our stuff from Mexico or China or Canada or even Oklahoma if we can buy it right here?
I love that.
Yeah,
Yes.
so the sugar is beet sugar. And Sugar House, Utah was famous for sugar, and they made it all from beets.
Wow.
So we've reintroduced this, and if you want to try something really good, you just put this in your hands and do this. It tastes so much better.
Try it.
Yeah, taste that. So you have cane sugar and then beet sugar. And this right here, you'll want to come in just to do the sugar. So much better.
It really is.
It is, isn't it?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we have Utah beet sugar. We even have salt from Manti. And all of our flour that's up on the wall there is milled at Big J Milling out of Logan. And last month we went through over 1,000 pounds of flour just making biscuits, cinnamon rolls.
Wow.
And what else? Biscuits, cinnamon rolls, or something else. But 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
That's our pancakes. Our pancakes are amazing, yeah.
Their pancakes are amazing.
So we have a lot of that, and then all of our meats, eggs, cheeses. Our honey is unfiltered, and it's all from this valley. Those little bees, they have licked on every flower and weed in Utah County, but that's good for you. And so we really try to support the local farmers. So if you think about sustainability, owner management, which we call fraction of the action, and then also helping an individual find their footing, it makes it so that people, when they come to work, they're motivated, you know, not just to show up and squeeze a dollar out of the economy. You know, what do they want to do? They want to look at Jake Celine, who's back there right now cooking, you know, and they want to make sure that he gets his second chance. And so that's kind of our thing. And then when you look around and you see the vintage furniture.
Yeah, this cool furniture.
We even pulled the paneling off the walls and all of the trim, all of the what is they call it, the hat hooks?
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that stuff right there, and even the hardware that holds the tables up, everything's over a century old. Everything is already served over 15 million people. And
From
Lamb's Grill, Salt Lake City. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I forgot that.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, Lamb's Grill. And they were in business 98 years, the oldest running restaurant to survive in Utah.
Wow.
And I'll tell you what's fun is if you're LDS, so a lot of people are, they've been in here and they says they recall when they looked in the window, they would see George Albert Smith, they'd see David O. McKay, they would see J. Reuben Clark. That was like their favorite place to go get their liver and onions or their whatever. And then the table that's just right over here, that was the Salt Lake Tribune's table, reserved every day for lunch for 75 years.
Wow.
And so the bantering that went on around that table is storied. And the governors of Utah love to do a lot of their power meetings, you know, at Lamb's Grill. And so the place, it has soul.
So much. It does have soul. I love that. It's a perfect way to say that.
Yeah, it has soul. It has a feel. It has a vibe.
It does.
And when you come in here, it's got a warm feeling. It's got a comfortable feeling.
It does.
And when people come in, the coolest thing about, I think so far, is when you look at a full restaurant, no one is on their stupid cell phone. They're actually leaning in and having a conversation with a human being. You go to all the other places that are fast food, everyone's just like this. They're not even paying attention to what's going on around them. And I want you to notice how many people, and we play Frank Sinatra just a little loud. For one reason, we want people to have to lean in and talk and reconnect, you know, and that's kind of a fun little thing for a restaurant. And
Like,
that's
you've
different.
thought all of this through. There's such a vision, like from the minute you walk through the door to, I'm going to show you the kitchen in a minute, but every single aspect of this place, there is a soul to it. Tell us about when you very first walk in, the piece that's right behind the desk.
Okay, so this is funny. You probably want to clip this one out. But anyway, they were demolishing a Methodist church in Denver, Colorado 25 years ago. And I storm in there. I said, what are you guys doing with all of this? And they said, well, it's all heading to the trash heap. And I said, I'm not leaving until I buy the whole front of this church. And so I camped out there. I bought it. And then my ex-wife, every year for like 20 years, would go, what are you doing with that front of that church? Why don't you sell that thing so we can go on vacation? We're really good friends.
Yeah.
Okay, we really are really good friends. But she came in about 2 or 3 weeks ago. She hadn't seen the place yet. And as soon as she walks in, she looks up and sees my church.
Yeah.
Hanging on the wall. She goes, crap.
There was a reason.
Yeah, there was a reason, you know. There was a Tru Religion.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped us come up with the name, because I had that church. We were going to use it like as a host station. I go, no, let's just hang that thing on the wall.
Love it.
So we have that. If you look at the front doors as you come in, restaurants, the experience does not start when you get to the host station. It starts in the parking lot. If you notice, my parking lot is very clean because I personally sweep it.
Wow.
And I blow all of the dust away. I love flowers. Wait till you see this place in the spring. And so we'll have wonderful flowers out there. But then your second contact is your doors. If you have substantial doors, you should have substantial food.
Right. Yes.
So when you look at my doors, I shopped, and there is a Restore. Now most Restores have junk, but there's one out of Aspen, Colorado, and don't tell anybody this, okay?
Don't tell.
But anyway, I pay those people back in the back of the house. I said, if you get something cool, call me. And so they called me up about a year ago, and they says, Jim, an NBA superstar, his wife does not like their front doors. They spent $180,000 having art glass and mahogany, 14-foot high doors. They were a total of almost 18 feet high, but it didn't match their $60 million log house. So they tore them out and they took them to the Restore. And I call them up and they go, Jim, we got like the coolest doors ever. And so I talked to the manager and I go, hey manager, I bought a ton of stuff from you guys and I need those doors. And he goes, they spent 180 grand. How much will you pay us for them? And I looked over at my brother and I go, $800. And it got really quiet. And they go, well, you're a really good customer. No one knows what to do with 14-foot high doors. So if you come and get them in the next 2 hours, we'll pretend like we didn't let them go for $800. So those doors are my entry doors.
Wow.
And if you see that really fancy glass wall right there in this glass, that's the glass that was originally in those doors. Yeah, so we had to cut the glass out, cut the doors down so they were 10 foot so they'd fit. But those are my doors. And then when they were demolishing homes, you cannot tear a house down in Aspen proper. You have to restore it. If you do tear it down, it's a $250,000 fine.
Wow.
But in Aspen, if you're not a billionaire, you're not even known. Millionaires are and stuff like that. So these people will tear down those homes on a Saturday or a Sunday night. The city shows up Monday morning, writes them a fine for $250,000. They write a check. And so they called me up and they said, Jim, they were demolishing one of those old houses and we have a chandelier. It's from the 30s.
Love the chandelier.
And they says, do you want it? But we're not going to give it to you cheap. And I says, how much? And we need at least 1,000. And I go, how big is it? And they goes, it's 6 foot. It's got 500 crystals on it. And I says, save it for me. I'll be right up. And I ran every crystal through my wife's dishwasher to her chagrin. It took like 4 loads, but we washed all of the crystals. We rebuilt that whole thing. And when we put all of the lights in, it was all porcelain instead of cheap plastic and glass. And we had to heat up some of the arms and bend them back and all that kind of stuff. But when we turned it on, every light came on.
Oh my gosh, miracle.
Yeah,
Right?
well, you know, they made things a lot better, a lot more substantial, and it was a miracle. I would have bet that half of them, you know, wouldn't have worked, but they did. So we have that. And
That chandelier is gorgeous.
well, it's just a collection, a kind of an eclectic collection. But what's fun to get the whole story, you probably don't want the whole story, but you're going to get it anyway. The phone booth.
I love
So when children come into a restaurant, like I said, whatever corporate America does, I turn 180 and I go the other direction. So when the kids come in, they'll say, here, can you find like Ronald McDonald's House at the End of the Maze? So they're constantly trying to brand kids with their little, you know, Crayola things. And what I did is I came up with 12 wonderful little pieces of paper that would appeal to boys and girls and whatever. And I let them choose what they want to draw, you know, not what I want. And I says, just go in the phone booth. And so a lot of families like to cram in there and get pictures. But the kids, it gives them a little fun, you know, thing to do. And then the 2 beaver candy machines up there, the little gumball machines. My dad run with my brother and I 6 truck stops in Colorado for the last 35 years, from Durango up to Fruita. And every kid that come in that place, he would slide them a quarter. And when he passed away last year, everyone in Grand Junction knew my dad. And so for 2 days, the throngs came to say hi. And every time we turned around, there'd be a quarter stuck between his knuckles. And I go, Mom, first I'm going, Mom, what the heck is that? And they go, it's that Harley dude that's like 55 years old. When he was 5 years old, your dad was putting, you know, quarters in his hand. He gave a quarter back. And we're getting a lot of quarters back.
There you go.
So I put that up there to commemorate my dad.
That's awesome.
And we hand those out. If you see the wooden nickels that are up there, he was with Sambo's Corporation. And Sambo's was started by 2 LDS boys in Santa Barbara, California in 1959.
Really?
It grew from 1 store to 1,143 stores in a mere 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
So it was the largest family restaurant in America. It had imploded because of greed, not because of the name. But there's 2 things that I recall from that period. Number 1 is they handed out wooden nickels for free coffee. My wooden nickels say True Services, True Religion, and all of my servers, they get a nickel every day. And if they see a child that's being very polite or congenial, or he calms a sibling or picks up a coat, then they can slide that quarter and say, now there's a difference between just gumball candy and top shelf candy. You can turn that one in for top shelf. So they'll go into our candy counter over there and they'll get some really nice candy. They trade it in.
That is so cool.
From the Sambo's era. And then the fraction of the action was what made Sambo's grow so quick. All of their managers owned 20%. And when my dad threw away all of the structuring documents when it imploded, I was 19 years old. I don't know why. I pulled them all out of the trash can. So I had them all. And when I started this, I asked J.B. Hendrickson, who started Advanced CFOs. These are some of the greatest money minds. They're retired. They're retired here in Utah. So he formed this and grabbed all of these retired CFOs from major corporations, and you rent them. And so Scott Nixon, one of my friends, that was one of the head CPAs of the LDS Church, I says, I need a CPA. He says, get a hold of JB. This guy's amazing, and he will help you find your insurance agent and also your CPA, your controller, your bankers, everybody helps you get your periphery set up to be successful. Well, come to find out, JB, when we hired him, he is the bishop at the Point of the Mountain prison, been there for 5 years, and when he heard about our program, he goes, would you consider a felon? And I says, we'll consider anybody. You know, and he says, I will bet my life that this kid is ready for his second chance. And what was phenomenal about that is I says, well, I have to meet him. And he says, well, he's in prison. I said, get me in prison. And so he says, all right, I'll get you in prison. So we went in prison, the big lockup. There was over 100 inmates that were at a service. And the reason there was so many, they had a football player that was speaking. And I picked Jake out with my wife. I said, that's our guy right there, I'll bet. And it was our guy. And so we interviewed him. We said, yeah, we're going to hire you. And he's turned out to be a wonder kid. And he now has vision. He now has hope. Hope is outrageously powerful to motivate somebody if they know that they have a direction that's solid and secure.
Exactly.
And so that's that. The phone booth story, to finish it, Telluride, Colorado is one of the most outrageous ski resorts in North America. And when I had my little restaurant in Montrose in 1989, the owner of Telluride would come into my restaurant because he loved my biscuits and gravy. And he imported 30 of those things from Liverpool, England. And when the English people found out they were selling off their red English phone booths, it was an uproar, but he got 30 before they kiboshed it. And it took me 2 years in Biscuits and Gravy for Life to talk him out of that one.
To get one of them.
And I finally talked him out of it. Oh, and plus I had to pay $1 a pound for it, so I had to write him a check for $1,800 because that's what it weighs. And so we have that, and that was a lot of talking.
Well, that's exactly what I was hoping for. On top of all of that, that's why you have the experience you have when you're in here, because of that vision. But then when you sit down and you eat the food, holy moly, it's like an explosion of happiness in your mouth. Right?
Nice. Yes, it is.
It's just amazing. We've had the stuffed French toast, which
love that,
to die for. What's some of your other favorite?
The green supreme, the meat lover's omelet. Now my power porridge. When you listen to this really cool Frank Sinatra music that's been playing, I grew up in Vegas, and when I was 13 years old, I got to go to a place called the Bacchanal Room. And when they opened up the original Caesar's Palace in '65, Frank Sinatra said, I will open here, but you have to have a place for my friends from Chicago and New York. Otherwise, I might go to the Sands or the Dunes or the Silver Slipper. And so Caesar says, all right, we're going to make you an outrageous place for your friends to come. They called it the Bacchanal Room. It was named after Bacchus, the god of excess for the Romans. The Romans had a god for everything, even for excess. Yes. They did. Yeah. So it's a very appropriate name. So I go there when I'm 13 because my uncle's a high roller, and he gets us in. And this woman walks up to me in a really kind of a wild-looking toga. Yeah. And she walks right up and she goes, welcome to the Bacchanal. I'm your slave. And I'm 13. I go, ah! Okay, so anyway, what does that entail?
What does that mean?
And she says, follow me. You're going to lay down on this duvet. And I go, I don't know what a duvet is, but I'm not saying no. So I lay on this fainting couch, and she starts putting grapes in my pie hole. And I'm thinking, wow, Frank Sinatra, you dog. You know, you really live large. Yeah. Well, anyway, when I was down there last year, buying some old stainless steel, because I like old stuff, and I was in this boneyard, 10 acres of dilapidated restaurant stuff, and something twinkled in one of those storage areas, and it was all of these crates full of silver. And I walked up and I said, what is that? And they go, that's the original service silverware out of the Bacchanal Room. And I said, I'm not leaving until I have it. So if you order my oatmeal, which took me 2 years to develop, 40 grams of protein, 20 grams of fiber. When I go to Sprouts, I spend over $100 buying stuff just to make oatmeal. But we never do it like all other restaurants. It's done up like a beer mash. We steep it for 24 hours so it never boils, and then we let it chill. We portion it out and we prepare every order to order, and we serve it in Frank Sinatra's and his Rat Pack silverware. So when you come in and you get my power porridge, you know, and it's very special.
That's so cool.
And then you mentioned something about the menu. When you go into other restaurants, they always have house specials. And when you open it up, there's always at least a half a dozen, you know, things that says this is our specialty of the house or whatever. When we put this menu together, I says, why did they do that? Why would you put anything on your menu if it's not specialty of the house? If they won't wait in line for it, why even put it on the menu? So when we put the menu together, I had it in my head, and it only took me 2 hours to put our menu together. So I slapped it up while I'm out here singing and yelling and screaming and everything like that, because it was there, it was coming out, and it just flowed. And so we put it, and then we shot it over to an editor, and everyone got a hold of it, and we wordsmithed it to 24 revisions.
24.
Because my wife would not let me put, like on the power porridge, she wouldn't let me put, I wanted to put on there guaranteed pleasant poops. I didn't get that one. Even on the next revision, she says, let me see that thing, because you're not going to sneak that in on me. And but I had a lot of really crazy stuff on there, and they tamed it.
They taped it down.
Yeah, so they got it tamed down. But there's nothing that goes on my menu unless it is house special. And
that's true. Everything I've ever eaten, that's true about it.
Well, thank you.
Very true.
Yeah, thank you.
The hot chocolate that's an experience in and of itself.
Well, I went up to Salt Lake City, and what was fun up there is you have like Mill Creek, you have Olympus. They've been in business like 25 years. And I says, sell me your best coffee beans, you know, and I have a lot of coffee snobs. So we'd grind it up, and I said, that's really good coffee. And when we decided a couple of things, number one, Chick-fil-A closes on the Sabbath day. I think that's cool. It's not about profit, it's about lifestyle, it's about integrity, and it's about giving your people a chance to have a life in the food service industry.
Right.
This is the biggest day, is Sunday. That's a $10,000 day you throw away. It's a lot of profit, a lot of money. And when I decided we were going to close on the Sabbath, and I says, you guys, when you work for me, I don't care if you want to go to a football game, if you want to go to church, that's your family day. So you take that and enjoy it. When I did that, and then I decided I wouldn't sell a liquor license, because one of our restaurants had a liquor license, and it was a pain in the butt. And I says, we're not going to do liquor or anything like that. And I says, we're going to minister to human beings. It's like every obstacle that was in our way instantaneously fell. All of the hedgerows that hedged us in fell down. All doors opened up. We met all of the right people at all of the right time to find all the lambs grilled, to find this location, you know, to locate the amazing human beings to come and work with us. And it's just, it's like it all came together. And we've only been open for 91 days. And we've already been on the news 4 times, unsolicited. We've been in the Tribune and the Herald, unsolicited. And then we have this opportunity here. And I just really feel that if you put good karma out there and you really try to do good things happen.
I absolutely 1000% agree with that.
Well, amen.
And I wish all of the most happiness, success, everything for this place. And we'll continue to send as many people as I can here, and we will be sure to be back lots of times.
Bravo. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time with us.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
This is Susie Hunter with Pine Valley Realty, and remember, the more you give, the more you have. See you next time.
Amen.